This show is sponsored by the official Recall Committee, California Patriot Coalition. Recall Governor Newsom 2020, number 1424018. Committee major funding from others include Rescue California, Recall Gavin Newsom, Prov 39 LLC, BGB Ranch. This is your five-star spot for a smorgasbord of information from RecallGavin2020.com. In a tasty, non-caloric, gluten-free bite, it's Friday night at the French Laundry with Executive Chef Oren Heatley and Maitre d' Mike Netter. All the leaves are gray, and the sky is gray. California, California.
Of the Friday nights at French Laundry. This is Oren Heatley, the main chef, and Mike is out and about on the campaign trail and hitting the streets up and down California, traveling. We were in Shasta earlier, Redding, visiting a couple of the local committees, spreading out some flags, yard signs, bumper stickers for the recall. We have with us today in studio Moses Castillo. Moses, welcome aboard.
Thanks, Oren. It's great to be here. I'm really excited and can't wait to get the ball rolling here.
Absolutely. It's, we're serving it up hot, and hot it is. I don't know about down in your neck of the woods, but it is certainly a hot day up and down California. And once again, California is threatened with rolling blackouts. This governor is on a roll, and he's going for broke, and he's rolling blackouts and breaking California.
Yeah, he's like butter on a roll, and he's making it worse for himself, which I like it because it's his days are numbered. I'm really excited about this movement. It's not just a movement about recalling the governor, but as you know, there are many people facing a recall up and down this state. Today, there's George Gascon is also being recalled, the elected DA here in Los Angeles County, Mike Bonin, a city council member, and it goes on and on.
It does. This is a recall. The Gavin Newsom recall movement has sparked a firestorm, and there are recalls going on up and down the state. You have a board of supervisors that are being recalled in Shasta. You have school board members in San Luis Obispo that are being recalled. You have council members in Placerville that are being recalled. And people are really, this is a groundswell, grassroots uprising, and people are realizing that they hold the power. The people, and this is something I think that has generally gotten lost along the way. At some point, the people became the underdog and under the thumb of the government, which it was never intended to be that way. The people are actually a co-equal branch of government. We have the power to elect officials. We have the power to remove those officials through peaceful process, through the recall. We have the power to petition the government with our redresses. This is all guaranteed under our First Amendment right. And then we also have the power to bring initiatives to the ballot. We can actually change the Constitution without involving the legislators, which is really something to behold here in California. If we want a water bond and the legislators are ignoring the fact that, we're crying out, we are suffering, record droughts and record heat waves and things like that. And if we want more water storage, it's up to us, the people. We can bring that to ballot, vote on it, and change the Constitution in our favor to where we can actually make these things happen. We don't have to wait for the legislators to, dance and prance around their lobbyists and deal with the big unions and things like that. Big unions don't mean a hill of beans when it comes to the power of the people, because while the union mob bosses might back things and people like this governor, which they do, we hold the power of their membership. doesn't mean their members support it. Case in point, you had this gentleman that was just voted into the SEIU Local 1000 chapter of the SEIU union, and he was voted in by the members on his platform that he was standing firm against this governor, and he was going to do everything in his power to unseat him. The members voted him in, and in a final act of defiance, the outgoing president called an emergency board meeting and pledged $1 million to this governor's defense fund, his
Wow.
recall defense fund,
Crazy.
which is a slap in the face to all of those members that voted this new president in, and it strikes against the will of their membership. And what I have to say, folks, and there are union members out there listening, if the union mob bosses don't support your wishes, don't support them.
Exactly. Don't vote them in, vote them out, get involved. And that's going to be my call today, Oren. I really want to encourage all of our listeners. It's time that we elect leaders that are going to put people first and support law enforcement and put violent criminals last. You know, in today's society, in today's world, it's unpopular to support law enforcement. I never hear any elected official anywhere up and down the state of California, across the nation, even the president of the United States is talking negative about law enforcement instead of showing some support. I don't get it. It's more, I don't know how that happened, but it's time we get rid of those folks and bring in people that are going to put the people first and support law enforcement to bring law in order and make these criminals, put them last. They shouldn't even be of concern unless we put stricter laws to protect our society, our communities. And that's going to be my call. So if you want to call in today, 1-800-222-5222, you know, come on, share us your frustration. Why are you supporting this movement? Why do you want, you know, what's important to you, and why are you fed up with your elected officials? And let's talk about these issues, and let's get behind our men and women that put on that badge every day to risk their lives for us. As you know, well, some of you may know my background. I retired from LAPD after 30 years of service, 28 and a half sworn, and 2+ years as reserve. And I just retired last July. And my area of expertise was investigating crimes against children and sex crimes of physical abuse, sex abuse, and murder of children. So as you can imagine, I've seen the worst of humanity, and I've seen the worst of the worst criminals. I personally believe in my career, I've spoken to the devil himself twice on 2 different cases. And I can't tell you that if we lose police officers and we lose, and the police officers lose faith in us and wanting to do their job, we've lost our society.
Absolutely. And, you know, we're already seeing a ripple effect, because when you start to defund the police, as in, 2008, we suffered a great recession in our state, and the police officers were off, and firefighters, first responders were all asked to go to the drawing board and renegotiate their contract. And one of the terms that came up was a 2-tiered system. So now you have, those older veterans like you, myself, who were in the 3% at 50 range. And now you have the officers that are coming in at 2.5% at 57 or something like that, or even 60, where they're working longer and they're making less and things like that. That has a ripple effect. When you defund the police, when you take away those incentives for good quality people to put on that badge and go out and risk their lives, the unintended consequence is the quality of candidate that you get as a result. And in my capacity, I was privileged to be one of the supervisors that was in charge of actually, hiring bringing on the new hires, interviewing them and going through their backgrounds and things like that. So, you know, it was a privilege to be able to bring on the new generation of law enforcement officers into my agency. And we're coming up to a break. I believe we have about a minute left. So, I mean, did you see that, the same thing in your
Well, you know what? I could compare.
aspect?
I could compare this back to the 1992 riots. I was a brand new police officer, technically still in the academy when the riots broke out after the Rodney King jury trial, the acquittal of the 4 Los Angeles police officers who were acquitted of the Rodney King beating. But we could talk about that when we get back from the break. You're listening to AM 790 KABC, Friday nights at the French Laundry.
Voter came in and they caught me red-handed, eating at the place next door. Were there a lot of people there? Picture this, it was not that vacant, like 100 people or more. How could I forget?
Okay, you see the Thunderbolt traffic right now. Lots going on in the.
All right, Susan should be coming online. They should have called you already. You should be on hold. Is that right, Susan? Walsh?
And we're talking, yeah, Walsh.
And out the head of that on the
Yep.
westbound.
And yeah, that's absolutely right about the defunding of the police. I can only imagine what you guys go through as police officers. I've rode around and with a Bell's Bonds agent going on bounty hunts, and wow, that was a little bit of a hairy situation as we're going after a murder suspect.
Oh, absolutely. The bounty hunters are in the same boat.
Yeah.
You know, they have been defunded, you know, with this no bail system that they're putting in place. And that's one thing that I wanted to ask, and we'll talk about it in the next segment with Susan Walsh on the line. But the gentleman that threw the bottle of water at the governor was arrested, and he's given a $35,000 bail. That's a steep bail for anybody, for a homeless person to come up with that kind of bail. You know, this governor is touting the fact that he wants to impose, a means testing for bail, and base the amount of the bail, or even base the amount of fines that people are going to pay on their ability to pay. So, you know, if I run a red light, my ticket might be $1,000, but if somebody else runs a red light, their ticket might be $10.
Right.
I don't know. That it's based on their ability to pay. It's, you know, it's not constitutional. That goes against the equal application of the law, equal protection under the law. And these are some of the draconian measures that we're actually trying to combat.
Right.
So just trying to listen in to.
That's all right. I'll got your signal.
Okay.
I think I'm finally here. Can you hear me?
Steve Chef Owen Heatley and Mater D. Mike Snyder.
Dream of Californication. Dream of Californication.
Okay, welcome back, guys,
Back.
to the Friday nights at the French Laundry, KABC AM 790. Please call in 1-800-222-5222 with your questions or comments about the topic tonight. Obviously, with the so many things going on with the recalls, you know, throughout the state of California, not only the governors being recalled, but other elected officials, and that's giving me a sense of hope, a sense of that, you know, there is light at the end of the tunnel. We can do this. We can come together. But you know what's a call to action? We need all of you to either get out of your seats from home, not stop. You know, it's no longer an opportunity just to sit back, watch the news, and allow things to play out. You got to get involved. You got to volunteer. You got to donate. You know, our police officers, for instance, in today's society, today's world that we live in, they feel betrayed. They feel abandoned. They feel that no one is supportive, because there is no elected official that has publicly shown any support for our police officers. Instead, what do they want to do? They want to defund them. They want to, you know, some organizations want to abolish the police. And I remember clearly, we started talking about the 1992 riots, but this last year in 2020, when the civil unrest broke out, more like a urban warfare. It was day 3 of the civil unrest. It was a Friday evening when you began to hear the chants, defund the police, defund LAPD here in Los Angeles. And by Saturday afternoon, the mayor and the city council announced just that they're going to remove $150 million from their LAPD budget and take it away and put it somewhere else. That is crazy. Not only is that it's stupid, and it's just very demoralizing for the rank and file to hear that the mayor, the leader of the city, is going to do just that, bow down to these organizations that are anti-police, don't like us, and that's why these recalls are happening.
You're absolutely right, Moses. And, you know, one of the things that we're facing with this is, like I said, the degradation of our police force. When you defund the police and you take away the valuable services that the departments have in place, like I know that Gascon went in, and did he not? Maybe it was Bodine up in San Francisco. Maybe I have the two mixed up. I mean, they're so similar. These George Soros implants in the law enforcement arena. One of them had vowed to dismantle the gang unit, and I think it was Mr. Gascon down there in Los Angeles.
Yeah, Gascon just did that recently. He disbanded the hardcore gang unit, which is a specialty. It was a specialized unit within the Los Angeles County DA's office, where you had veteran, seasoned prosecutors who knew not only the law, but knew how to apply the law to their cases and how to deal with the victims and their families, because it took a specialty. It took someone who really cared, because these victims were murdered by gang members, and many of them were innocent victims that had no ties to gangs whatsoever. Yes, you did have the occasional gang on gang violence, but for the most part, some of the innocent victims were children caught in the crossfire, families caught in the crossfire, and so to really take this step, I don't understand it. He says he cares about the people of color in the communities, but the people that are being impacted the most by his special directives, but there's nothing special about them. They're unlawful. You know, it's impacting the people that live in this inner cities, and I just don't get it. And you know, I hear Black Lives Matter organizer once said during the George Floyd anniversary, he was interviewed along with myself. He said that the police, LAPD, are responsible for the criminalization of people of color from the communities that they live in. And I'm going, what? How you know? And once I actually told this individual, I introduced myself to him, and I told him my background, that I investigated crimes against children and so on, so forth, the murder, rape, and all that. And then I said, you telling me that the police were responsible for that, for those people to commit these crimes? He didn't know what to say. He actually walked away when I said that. So it's just, you can't reason with these people, and it's really sad that our officers have to put up with that.
You know, I've had the same situation throughout my career, where, you know, I've arrested people for heinous crimes, actually put people away. For one gentleman in particular, he was sentenced to 250 years of life plus, okay, life without parole, and basically for molesting his own son repeatedly.
Wow.
And the fact is, you know, under this administration, that person is going to be eligible to be released. Charles Ng is going to be eligible to be released. And if people don't know the name Charles Ng, he was a mass murderer, and he would torture his victims in front of family members, and then mutilate the bodies, and then feed the bodies to his hogs that he had on the ranch.
Sick.
You know, absolutely sick. These are broken individuals. And this governor is making it his life's mission to set these people free and unleash them back out onto society again. One person that's already been released, I believe he goes by the moniker Rape, Torture, Kill, RTK. He has been released, and he's walking among us, and I believe he was released to the Lake Elsinore area. I don't know. I don't want to make people overly freight in that area, but, you know, this person has vowed to reoffend again and
Yeah.
should never go free.
You know, Oren, I was able to see a list that came out weekly. It was a list that came out from the Department of Corrections to Los Angeles County DA's office. And this list wasn't unique just to LA County. This list was all the inmates that are being released for quote unquote good behavior. And this list went out to every county on a weekly basis. Sometimes the list contained 100, 200, about 300. And the convicted felons were for murder, rape, child rape, child molestation, domestic violence, all the deadly weapon, went on. And it listed the names of the cities that they were being released to: Montebello, Pico Rivera, Montclair, Los Angeles, Lancaster, Palmdale, Rosemead, and all they were, when this list came out, this list came out in an email, and the email said, please contact the victims and let them know that the people are being released on their case. Can you imagine receiving a phone call that the person responsible for the murder of your loved one or for the rape of your loved one is about to be released? It is crazy.
I believe it's a Gracie's law that mandates the local county and the district attorney, the county sheriff and DA notify victims of certain crimes when the suspect is going to be released. Is that right?
It's Marcy's law. Yeah, so it's
Marcy's law.
Yeah, Marcy's law is actually, it's in our California Constitution. It was codified, I believe, back in 2008, and it's because, you know, victims were being ignored, victims were not put in as a priority. Oftentimes, they would get neglected during the criminal justice process, not only in the court process, but even, you know, during the investigation by the police department. And so, please, if you want to call in, 1-800-222-5222, call in with your questions, comments about what we're talking about. We'd love to hear from you. But yeah, it is crazy about, you know, this list that, and not many people know about this. And they, you know, this is going under the radar. Just recently, it was published that the governor wants to release, you know, 76,000 inmates, and he already shut down 2 prisons to begin with. And these are the reasons why he's being recalled. You know, and the people have spoken.
There's only 115,000 inmates in California in custody in California state prisons. That's over half of the prisoners, and 20,000 of those prisoners that are slated to be released are violent repeat offenders sentenced to life without parole. Life without parole means that they have committed such heinous crimes that the jury found them guilty and the judge sentenced them in such a way that they were mandated to spend the rest of their living days behind bars, never to walk among us again. And, you know, this is just a travesty. It's an injustice, and it's being perpetrated on our society by this governor and this legislature. It's out of control. It's a rogue legislation, and it needs to be stopped. And we're doing it with this recall effort. RecallGavin2020.com. We need to keep the lights on. We want to keep this information flowing your direction. And in order to do that, we desperately need your funds. This is a listener funded radio program, infotainment, we call it, because it is entertaining, but it is mostly for your information to educate the public about what's going on. And we need to make sure that everybody is kept aware of what's happening around them in their state that is not being covered by the mainstream media. You can donate to the cause, the recall this governor, at recallgavin2020.com. And we're going to be bringing Susan Walsh on, and Susan is a senior volunteer in the Recall Gavin movement up in the Northern California region, and we're happy to have her join us. Yeah, after break.
How could I forget that I had Bandolindo gatherings? Just a prime example of a really big hypocrisy. You don't know. KABC News, I am Tom Looney.
All right, folks who's watching in on Zoom, this is our little intermission session here. And we're waiting for Mr. Orrin Healy to join in on audio.
District Attorney George Gascon is
If Mr. Orrin Healy can take himself off of mute.
facing a recall as well. Held a rally downtown defending his liberalism this afternoon.
So there's about 7 things that I have to do in order to switch from the radio portion back over to the podcast. And it's like, okay, and then I have to unwind all of those to get back on. But I found a shortcut just in this last one. There's a little speaker icon in the upper left-hand corner that I can mute my phone because I couldn't turn the phone down low enough.
Oh,
The radio station was getting feedback from the Zoom call.
yeah.
So they had to mute me for quite a while because there was a lot of feedback. But anyway, any questions from the panel? Do we have got a couple people listening in this tonight, or what do we got?
Let's see here.
Not a whole lot.
Not a whole lot tonight. We do have some.
But the important people are here.
Yes.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
We have a member of our homepage that has invited over 500 people. I mean, that's a lot to go through.
So,
I'm
ladies
going
and
in-
gentlemen, this is Miss Susan Hurd, our state executive for the Recall Gavin 2020 team.
This will take me 2 days to go through. A lot of them are out of our country.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
yeah, forget about them.
I'll be able to assist you on that.
All
I
right.
think we should just decline them all. And I mean, seriously, Tim, I don't know that we can go through all these.
Well, what we'll do, Susan, is we will do a random sampling of 20 people
Right now, 405
and make a determination based on that.
slow going from
I've gone through a lot of them. He's got a lot of friends
the airport on Friday.
from every country you can think of,
Slow
from
going
Syria to Switzerland.
past the 118 freeway interchange.
Anyway,
Your accident
Yeah, I don't know
down to a long
what causes. I've had people do that before where I've actually reached out to
Hey,
them.
Oren, we do have one caller on the line, just so you know.
Hollywood.
What's that?
We have one caller on the line, just so you know.
Okay, cool. I've actually reached out to the person that's invited so many friends and asked them, why are you inviting so many friends? Because all 500 could be trolls
Taking your car to a shop for maintenance.
right,
at this point.
That's why people
right.
in Southern California are using repair
So
all your car maintenance or repair.
I'm
So
not
we'll
comfortable with these
talk about
people.
that.
Okay,
My suggestion would be to send them
Replacement or break.
a messenger message on Messenger. Basically explain to them that we are going to,
Year and model of car.
not allow anybody to come in until we have a conversation with you while you're inviting so many people all at once and from out of California,
Surprises or extra.
because this is
Right.
a California effort. And if they don't respond, then they go away.
Com and enter code.
okay,
That's
I can do that.
code radio. Com code RADIO.
And if I know you're busy today and you've got a lot going on, if Tim doesn't need you the whole time, you can bow out early because it's,
Yeah.
I mean, you do have a lot going.
I will. I'm gonna send this man
Actually
a
surprised to
message.
see you on the call.
I have to keep in tune with what's going on, best I can.
Yep.
On the menu tonight, a better California with Executive Chef Orrin Heatley and Maitre d' Mike Netter.
It's off. All right, folks, welcome back to the next.
segment of the French Laundry. It's 7:34 and this wonderful day. It's 106 degrees where I am. And, thankfully I'm in the Sacramento area and we're not part of PG&E here for our electricity, but I'm just hoping that those folks out there that are members of PG&E are able to keep their power on because You know, they're threatening statewide rolling blackouts up and down the state because of the high energy demand. And at this time, when we're suffering, you know, extreme heat, drought, you know, lack of water, this administration, the governor, is supporting the removal of several dams on the California northern border to Oregon on the Klamath River. I don't necessarily have a dog in that race, but I know that the people up in Shasta and up in the northern counties definitely do. You know, their farming industry depends on water. Water is a huge issue up and down our state, and I think that it's a, you know, a finite resource, and we need to do everything that we can to conserve and preserve the resources that we have. I know that San Francisco, the environmental mecca of the world, get their water from a valley, which is the Hetch Hetchy Valley in the Tuolumne National Forest, and the Oshawanagasee Dam backs up the water into a valley, a sister or a twin valley to Yosemite itself, with towering cliffs, glistening waterfalls, gorgeous panoramic views, but it's inaccessible. People can't use the lake for recreation because it's where San Francisco gets their drinking water, and it's all gravity fed from the Tuolumne National Forest, all the way from way up there, all the way over to San Francisco. That's something that a lot of people don't know. But I say, if we're going to tear any dam down, start there.
Crazy.
It is crazy. You know, I think that we need to, we can bring Susan on anytime, Wayman. I appreciate that. And I think that, you know, we need to conserve our resources and build more.
Hey.
Resources. Hello, Susan. Welcome aboard.
Hello, Oren. I'm so excited. The French Laundry. I love this show. Trust me, it's like my favorite show. I look forward to it. But when I see Gavin Newsom go,
broadcasting nationwide these days.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Throughout the area.
That's right. So you know what? So Gavin Newsom did his roller coaster tour this week. Oh my goodness, right? He like hit all these different roller coasters and oh my God, I actually think that I'm living in the you know, what's that show, The Hunger Games? I just haven't figured out which district I'm in The Hunger Games with him. And so he is just rolling out, getting it out there, giving up our tax dollars, just feeding out everything. I mean, he's so desperate. The sheer desperation in this man. I mean, he's flipping pizzas and, you know, just going to gyms, and I'm just waiting for him to sit there and take off his shirt so we can see his wrinkly abs. I'm sure it's coming.
Well,
I'm sure in the next 90 days. Yeah, that's the title, right? Yeah, I'm sure. And I'm sure I'm looking forward to this.
This is the governor that wears a winter windbreaker in 105-degree heat while he's up touring the campfire in Paradise, California. I've rarely seen him out of a jacket with his collar flipped up like a preppy.
Yeah. Yeah, doesn't he love those photo ops? Oh my goodness, those photo ops. It's kind of funny. It's like Disneyland, you know, he hasn't done a photo op at Disneyland because I think that they don't want him at Disneyland at all. I mean, the guy that he hired on the board to look at reopening, he bailed on him. So it's like, you're not going to see a photo op with Gavin Newsom at Disneyland. So yeah, but that's how it is. So today,
Well,
this is kind of interesting.
The former CEO of Disney was on one of Gavin's committees, his COVID committee, and he actually got up and just walked out of the room and quit because
yes,
the shutdowns. The Disney was able to keep their theme parks open in Florida, and I've been to that theme park. It's a wonderful place, and you know they proved that they were able to operate in a safe manner. There were no outbreaks and no additional cases linked to their operation. And yet this governor kept the theme parks here shut down in California, which just decimated not only the theme parks, but the entire hospitality industry surrounding the theme parks. But yet, you have the hospitality lobby and the unions, the unions that, you know, provide the labor for that industry. They're blindly supporting this governor, where I feel strongly that we have support of their membership. What do you think about that?
I think you might be onto something with that. And, you know, knowing that he's the highest paid governor in the entire nation, I repeat, Gavin Newsom is the highest paid governor in the entire nation, and he's going to get a pay raise here of $8,809. Yes, Gavin Newsom. And Warren, guess who's the second highest paid governor of the nation, please?
I would have
Trivia
to guess
question.
that it's our friend Mr. Cuomo across
New York.
Oh.
the nation on the other coast, huh?
Oh, bingo. You got that one right. That's right. Those two. Yep, that's it. Gavin Newsom and Cuomo, the
One by
number
lottery.
one governors, highest paid, not DeSantis. No. It is Newsom and Cuomo. Pretty sickening, isn't it?
Moses, the way I look at New York and California, it's like having like the two gutters on either side of the street.
Yeah. Literally.
We're from the Golden
And-
State to the gutter state.
Yeah. So Newsom actually toured Oakland with Libby Schaaf, the mayor, yesterday, and so that's finally hitting the news stream. And a homeless man was attacked him with a water bottle, and the press did not capture that magnificent moment. I kind of would have liked to see that, but I digress. But Newsom's quote after the fact was this. He said, "The man was just a gentleman who wanted to say hello. We all have our different ways of expressing ourselves. And he certainly made an impact. It's the nature of life. Isn't that sweet? It's like how many people, just
That
a
was the
gentleman who
governor.
wanted to say hello."
That gentleman, that gentleman is facing felony charges with a $35,000 bail for trying to say hi to the governor.
Yeah, so I was like, where's
He
the
was
social
offering him a
workers?
bottle of water.
No, but I'm thinking like the governor, you know, he's all about the social workers. Where was the case managers? Why is he walking around with a security detail? You know, if he's all about, you know, live it, have the caseworkers come out and infiltrate before they throw the water, you know, right? It's all about that. So I don't know. I think it's kind of
I'm sure
funny.
they could have talked him down.
Yes.
Yep.
You know, we have.
And Moses, I'm sure. What's that?
No, I was gonna say, we have
Say that again.
Elaine from San Pedro that wants to comment. Can we let her in now? Line 1.
Absolutely. And I just want to comment one more thing about the gentleman in Oakland. I'm sure that this governor made it possible for him to arrange for bail based on his ability to pay.
Yes, we'll talk about that.
Oh, well, yeah.
Elaine from San
You got
Pedro,
it.
thank you, and welcome to the Friday nights at the French Laundry.
Hi, Moses. I'm born and raised in San Pedro, California, which is Los Angeles Harbor. And I recently posted on 2 community pages pictures of graffiti, the increase in graffiti that has popped up in my dad's neighborhood and in other neighborhoods in San Pedro, and pointed out the direct correlation to the fact that Gascon has disbanded the hardcore gang unit. And I had to point out to some of the people that were commenting that they don't understand that gang members mark their property like dogs,
The
which
territory.
is disparity to dogs. And that with increase in graffiti, there's means increase in gang activity and increase in crime. And I know it's a direct correlation to him disbanding that gang unit.
Yes, thank you, Elaine, for your call. And you're right. You know, and these gang members, people don't realize that they actually tax these vendors. They actually make these vendors who are selling, trying to make a living, and they're selling out of their carts, whether it's ice cream or other food items or trinkets, whatever it may be. Gang members approach them and tax them, make them pay quote unquote taxes to be able to sell their goods in their neighborhoods. And these gangs are running amok and terrorizing people. And in some cases, they actually do attack these vendors. And graffiti is one of those things where it brings on more gang activity because as soon as one gang marks their territory, the other gang comes around and crosses them out and starts a war, a gang war. And so thanks, Elaine. Appreciate your help and just continue to fight that good fight. We also have caller number 2 on line 2. We're going to break.
We have about 1 minute left. Can we, let's go ahead and take the next caller after the break.
Okay, hang in there, Nick.
So,
We'll be back.
there you go.
You're listening to the Friday Night French Laundry, KABC AM 790. And we'll be back.
And they call me red-handed, eating at the place next door. Were there a lot of people there? Picture this, it was not that vacant, like 100 peeps or more. How could I
I love this song, by the way. I need this song. I really need to buy this song.
Susan, you need to hang up off the phone.
I want it.
I've tried to get a hold of the artist, and you know, he's
Can hear you,
actually pretty
Oren.
popular. He's tough to get a hold of.
Extra slow still in Pasadena.
And I didn't see Dawn from
So 5.
LA. I didn't see. She just sent me a text, but I couldn't read the text in time. She asked me to clarify something.
Okay. But for those that are watching across the nation, there's a little segment that I put onto our pregame show on Wednesday. Basically, Gavin is stating that he wants the rest of the United States to look like California right now. And that is a dangerous thing. You know, if it was 40 years ago, California was doing all right then. But right now, California is not doing that well. So we definitely don't want Gavin to do that.
No, not at all. And good night, Susan Hurd. Thank you for your help, and have a wonderful Father's Day weekend.
I definitely appreciate everything Susan heard.
And I think we have Ellen on hold with the radio station too. Is that not right? Ellen, are you on hold with us? I can't see the panel from where I am, so.
Well, I'm watching the panelists, and I do see Ellen chatting. Ellen from the Central Valley.
Yep. All right, very good.
No, Ellen's just watching.
Excellent.
So folks that are watching, please donate to recallgavin2020.com. Let's keep things alive. Let's keep things moving forward.
Yes.
And have Oren ring that bell, or I'm threatening to play that song. And Oren knows what I'm talking about.
Yes, I do. I need to go get the bell. I actually, with this setup that we have,
yeah,
I have no mechanism to where I can look to see who's donating as we're broadcasting.
Oh,
So it's
okay.
either I ring the bell or we get to keep the Zoom call up.
Okay.
So
We'll get something figured out for you in the future.
I need another phone.
Aha.
Hey, it dropped 3 degrees up here.
Nice.
Hey, Grass Valley's, there's power outages in Grass Valley, so just reporting.
Oh, well, you need to talk about that. We've been mentioning that.
Yeah, I know. So, I mean, I'm not there right now, but they're complaining about it, that there's power outages. It's like, there we go. That's Gavin, you know.
Yep.
Gavin.
Yep.
Are you still on hold on the radio, Susan?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
They're on traffic.
I finally
Yeah,
figured it out.
I got my ears on, Warren.
I got to lower you guys at the same time, so give me a second.
On AM 790 KABC. We had an appetizer. This is your Friday night at the French Laundry with head chef Oren Heatley and maitre d' Mike Netter.
Okay, guys, welcome back to the Friday nights at the French Laundry, KABC AM 790. And we are having a great show today. Thank you for allowing me to be the guest host. We have Nicholas from Fresno on line 2. Nicholas, welcome to the show.
Hello, gentlemen. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for your call.
My pleasure. Good evening. Well, I appreciate you inviting me on because I'm actually a volunteer for the Fresno recall team. I was collecting signatures ever since that, I had been collecting signatures ever since that recall was declared. And where I live in Fresno, predominantly a Democratic registered voter district.
And I got thousands of people signing that petition to recall Gavin Newsom. So despite what he's saying on the news and, you know, the identity of the mainstream media as they want to create it, it's not true. And a lot of people need to know that the people of California are behind this. Like you guys were saying earlier, this is a people's uprising, you know? So I'll actually be at the gun show in Fresno this weekend. I'm a Black man, and I'll be celebrating Juneteenth Day tomorrow, Saturday, at the Fresno Gun Show from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. I'll be there, as well as Father's Day. I'm a father, and I'll be there on Sunday from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. On Sunday. So we're just asking everybody to come on down, because another assumption is that, you know, a lot of people that's supportive of the recall are, you know, gun supporting or gun enthusiasts, or, you know, all of that stuff. But I actually was in the Fresno or at the Fresno Gun Show last year. And believe it or not, the majority of the people that came up to our table were not Republicans. You know, they were Democrats, independents, libertarians, you know, from all different political parties. And they were interested in finding out more information. So that's what we're going to be doing, is out there passing out information about how they can get involved in the party from the bottom up, you know, as a precinct captain, get involved in the committees. And of course,
thank you, Nicholas. I really appreciate your time, and thank you for your efforts and your energy and going out there and fighting that good fight. We appreciate you, and we need more Nicholases to come on board. So thanks for the call, and we wish you well.
Bless. Hey, Nick. Thank you. Yes, before you go, I just have some questions for you, because you know, you have a cultural perspective working the recall, and you brought up a valid point. You know, this governor has been demonizing the people behind the recall and failing to address the problems of the recall, as you know, his latest commercials have indicated. You know, he's demonizing the people behind the recall. He's not addressing the original problems that began the recall and what drove the recall forward. Instead, he's trying to basically just discredit the people, hoping to sway popular opinion about why, you know, who's behind the recall instead of what's behind the recall. And we have nobody to thank for the success of the recall, but Gavin Newsom himself has nobody else to blame. And you're absolutely right, Nick. Thank you for the call. But this was a movement of the people, by the people. People from the entire political spectrum came out to work, not only sign the petition, but to participate as volunteers in the field and to help the movement forward. The entire political spectrum, all cultures, all ethnicities, all walks of life, people have galvanized around this movement like nothing else seen in California for decades. And that's the important takeaway from this. And it doesn't matter how much money pours into this governor's campaign to fight the recall. It doesn't matter how much of our tax dollars he dumps down the drain trying to bribe people and buy their vote.
His days are numbered. I'm really confident of that, and it's awesome. Right now, we have another caller on line 1, Don from Los Angeles, talking about the similarities between Gascon and Newsom. Don, welcome to the program.
Don.
Hey, guys.
Hi, Don. Go ahead.
So I recall ADA Jonathan Hatami talking very specifically about the history that some people that are listening tonight might not be aware of, the personal history between Gavin Newsom and George Gascon.
Yes.
And how George Gascon actually wound up in California. And I was wondering if you guys might want to share some information about that.
Yes, from what I understand,
I just learned some information about that, and I had just learned that George Gascon was literally run out of San Francisco, and he didn't even get the endorsement of his own mayor when he ran for district attorney down in LA.
Right. The only way he became a DA in San Francisco was because Governor Newsom appointed him when there was a vacancy in that position. But he started his career as a Los Angeles police officer, went up the ranks, sergeant, lieutenant, captain, and all the way to assistant chief. And I believe he was like the number 3 person under Bill Bratton. And then eventually he left. He was the chief of police in Mesa, Arizona, and then he got the chief of police position in San Francisco. And then from there, that's where Governor Newsom appointed him. He pretty much asked him, "Hey, don't you have a law degree? And didn't you pass the bar? You know?" And he told him yes, and tapped him, and he appointed him for the vacancy in San Francisco when Newsom was the governor in San Francisco. And there you go. And now, you know, I guess
And wasn't that because Kamala Harris left and vacated that seat, so that made her position available to appoint Gascon, and he had never even prosecuted a single case? Isn't that correct?
That's correct. He's never actually presented a case before a judge. He's never filed a case. Never declined a case. He's never done anything in the courtroom related to the handling of any particular case, whether it's for filing consideration or you know, declining the case, or even appearing before a court. None. You know, and that's really what really bothers me. Recently, within the last few weeks, he actually his executive team wrote an FMS brief on an appeal that a defendant wrote, and so he sided with the defendant on his appeal when the judge actually denied a George Gascon motion to eliminate the special enhancements and special allegations on a particular case. The judge ruled in the victim's favor and not on a motion that the prosecution actually brought forward. The judge denied the motion. So now the defendant on that case is actually appealing it, but Gascon aligned himself with that appeal on behalf of the defendant. That's unheard of, folks. You heard me right. He actually wrote an appeal on behalf of a defendant who's being charged with some serious felony crimes. That is crazy.
He is wholly unqualified. I mean, you know, I can't unendorse him for his position, but I can speak to his qualifications for being where he is and how he got there. And this is just, you know, this is what they call crony capitalism, but it's not capitalism. It's crony politics. And this is how these people are infiltrating our government on all levels, and they're funded in large part by Mr. George Soros, who hates America. Absolutely hates America. George, you know, Al, you know, I wish you well, but I wish you out of our politics, because you're doing nothing but destroying our country, and that's exactly what he wants to do. You know, I don't want to go too deep into the weeds as to what his roots are and where he comes from, but he has an axe to grind with America, and he's using his money and his influence to wield his axe to try and tear us down on every level that he can. And he realizes that he can put people in these chief of police spots, and he can put people in the district attorney positions, and they are incredibly powerful when it comes down to our local politics. So he doesn't have to control the puppet from, you know, the head. He can control the body of the puppet from each joint down below.
Right, and real quick before we go to our next break, I want to bring it to the attention that George Soros is sponsoring another George Gascon wannabe, another duplicate of George Gascon in Orange County. So if you live in Orange County and you're not careful, you're next. You know, he's going to try to unseat Todd Spitzer. We cannot allow that to happen.
Recall Gavin2020.com.
Understand we're not like other creatures. Rules do not apply to us. We are the leaders. Others can be trusted to be indoor eaters. They are more.
Oren, can you hear me? I can't
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, So I would say that that woman, she was 96 years old in San Francisco. And that guy, she was stabbed. I don't know, that's a big thing in San Francisco right now. And Boudin let that guy go. He was charged 5 different times and he let him go. And even since he stabbed her, he still let him go. And so that is a big old muckety mess you might want to bring up.
Well, I mean, when your parents are unjustly imprisoned by this burdensome justice system, just because they murdered 4 people, I mean, you know, you got to look at the totality of the circumstances and everything that surrounds it. I mean, maybe he had a good reason for killing that poor old lady. No. I'm kidding. That's satire, folks. It's not a laughing matter. This is deadly serious. These people are unleashing these horrible, violent criminals back into society, and we need to put a stop to it right here and right now.
And George Soros was the highest campaign contributor to Boudin. So
what was it? Last year he released 18,000 prisoners, and just a few weeks ago,
to get some water. I'll be right back.
76,000 more to top it off. That was like almost 100,000 prisoners he's released here in California.
Yeah, it's coming. It's not gonna be pretty.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
But that issue, that poor woman, she was Asian woman, 96 years old, and she got stabbed. If you see the footage, it's horrific. And the people in San Francisco, I think that's the one that's finally waking them up. Like, we got to get this guy out. 5 different times, 5 times. And he was just, you know, the police they can catch him, but if Boudin's not going to lock him up, hey, you know, I mean.
Susan, can you put your phone on mute for the radio station? Okay.
How's that?
Much better, because I was getting some echo.
That's roughly half of the 16.
And we'll have Moses back online.
Very good.
On Wall Street, all 3 major indexes finished.
All right. Yeah, these are tense times right now.
Yes.
And I can't tell you how excited I am to start paying reparations when they're come due. I'm curious how they're going to sell reparations, because
we have 3 callers on the line.
All right.
Thanks, Moses.
They have this committee that's been formed to present reparations in, the best light as going forward. And
the interesting thing about that, Warren, is didn't California enter the union as a free state?
California entered the union after slavery was abolished.
Exactly.
So, yeah, there was no slavery in California.
Exactly.
And as you go forward, I think that if anybody should pay reparations, it should be the Democrat Party, because there was not one Republican governor in any Republican states that ever held slaves.
Amen. Yep.
There's not one Republican president. The first first Republican president oversaw the abolishment.
Right.
The 210 freeway westbound.
I mean, it's not to say that there was not slavery here in California, because there was the Chinese.
My great grandmother came over from Hungary as a slave. Okay. My great grandmother, Ann Matz, was an indentured servant, which is a nice way of saying slave.
Yeah.
Okay. Her family sold her to a wealthy family here in California, and she ended up living her life out down in Lodi.
Yeah.
Now we call it human trafficking. Now it's called human trafficking.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
put it out there.
Exactly. So, I mean, to say that. What about the indentured servants? What about those slaves that were brought over? She was a young Jewish girl.
I come from Irish heritage, and a lot
I've
of
got to take
Irish
this
were-
real quick.
Okay. So I come from Irish heritage, and Irish were treated as slaves in the New York area.
And it wasn't until June 19th that the men and women.
Kamala was her ancestry. He was the biggest slave owner. So where do we go with that?
That's a good question.
Over the years, the meaning and message of June
Yeah, where do we go with that, Kamala? But anyways, going back to Recall Gavin 2020.
The celebration of Juneteenth
So
become even more important.
These little commercial intermissions are brought to you by yours truly, and donate to recallgavin2020.com. I need to keep this radio show going, and we are back on the air. So.
Number 1424018. Committee major funding from others include Rescue California, Recall Gavin Newsom, Prov 39 LLC, BGB Ranch. Is your 5-star spot for a smorgasbord of information from recallgavin2020.com in a tasty, non-caloric, gluten-free bite. It's Friday night at the French Laundry with Executive Chef Owen Heatley and Maitre d' Mike Netter.
And welcome back to the second hour of the French Laundry. And I understand that we have a special caller online. If you can go ahead and bring him in, that'd be great.
Hey, am I the 10th caller? Do I have one of those free, really cool recall banners?
You can have a flag. I'll tell you what. Go ahead and talk to the programmer offline. We'll get your address and we'll send you a flag. If you could just dump that call, Moses, and we'll go on to the next one. I'm kidding.
Hey, Mike, how you doing? I think
good. How you guys doing? You guys taking care of the restaurant while I'm gone? I'm up here speaking to a great group in Solano County. I got to tell you, how's it going? How's the show going tonight? Because I got to admit, I haven't been listening. I've been yapping to another crowd. I'm assuming.
Hey, Mike, it's going
Moses
great.
keeping on the line.
Yeah, Mike, it's going great. I think you need to keep your day job.
Well, if I had a day job, I'd be able to keep it, Moses. I'm not like you. I work for free.
You know what? It's just like a soup with a different seasoning to it. It's still good, but it's different than what it was before. That's all, Mike.
Let me tell you, gentlemen, and everybody listening out there tonight, it is such a pleasure, as I've been doing the last week, traveling up and down the state, to see the enthusiasm for the recall, to see really how many people out there are just over the top the fact that we got this on the ballot. It's absolutely amazing.
Yes.
And you have people coming up to us in tears that are happy to have it done. You have people fired up of all ages, of all ethnicity and diversity. And I've been doing this now for 18 months, and every time I get back out in the public, which I do every week, it just fires me up even more.
Yes, it's awesome. And I'm actually challenging everyone, but especially right now, I'm going to target myself to the law enforcement community and the law enforcement supporters. We need to get involved. You know, we've had enough. We're sick and tired of being sick and tired. We're tired of being abandoned, betrayed by our city leaders, our state leaders, and it's time to fight back. And you know what? Many of these leaders that got elected to begin with, we actually funded their campaigns through our payroll deductions that went into the PAC funding. And you know what? And when they call on us and they want to defund us, you know, that's why I've said it many times to the city council here in Los Angeles and the mayor. Well, give us back our money that we paid thousands and thousands of dollars to help you get elected, and now you turn around and you want to defund us, and you say that the money that I guess the money we gave you must be dirty money, so give it back to us, and they won't. It's going on deaf ears, and yeah, but they're not going to ask for any more money moving forward. I bet you that they're not going to ask our police unions or our leagues up and down the state. They're not going to ask for our money anymore because they know that they burned that bridge.
And you know, Moses, you're so right. You're right on a number of things here, Oren. I know you've been talking all so long. I've got to get a couple of blasts off, right? Blast number one is Moses is right on the money because big unions, big tech, big government doesn't work for the people of California. And I think, Moses and Oren, you know this better than anybody, it's really the people standing up as individuals to kind of take their state back, one person at a time, one vote at a time, one recall signature at a time. And you know what I find very fascinating, Oren?
Yes, I do, but go ahead and tell the rest of the group.
Beside my mirror image, okay? What I find very fascinating in addition to my mirror image is the fact that, you know, they talk about these poll samples, right? Wow, we interviewed 1,000 people and look at what we find. Look, we've got 100 people. You know, if a sample size of 2.1 million people who want to recall the governor of California isn't a big enough sample size, for people that want to donate to our cause and push it forward and put their money in the right place, I'm not really sure what to tell them.
Hey, Mike, you know what? That 2.1 million people were surveyed again. There was a 30-day survey where they were asked if they would consider withdrawing their signature.
Well, yeah, that was very one or two. But you know what? It's a good time to bring in Magdalene from Line 2. She's a supporter of the recall from the Bay Area. Magdalena, welcome to the program.
Hi, everybody. How's everybody doing tonight?
Doing great. Thank you. Thanks for.
By the way, I'm glad I've been asking Wildstar forever to get on the air because he's been so supportive of the recall. I heard San Francisco, Oren. Thank you for representing. I hear you too, Mike, somewhere in the ozone. I'm just glad to be here. I just wanted to shout out.
I've been in a long time, Magdalena. I'm actually up in Solano County right now, so I'm just over the bridge. But I'm not going to come visit you. I just don't have the time. But I am close.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I just want to say that San Francisco, there's still a lot of zombies out here wearing masks, and we still get hassled on the bus. We don't do the covering quite right. But, you know, we're holding on here. But this recall is so important because Gavin's just going off and doing whatever he wants to do. He's still doing executive orders doesn't need to do. And, you know, we have the Magdalena Recall radio show every 24/7 also that shows everything. But I'm glad Wildstar show. I'm just saying that this guy needs to be recalled. And I'm in a city where people walk around. Yes.
Well, while we have you online,
yes.
Ellen from the Central Valley brought up a good point. You know,
yes, Ellen. Well, whatever. Yeah. Okay.
We get sidetracked in talking about you know, what's going on in the community, why this is important, but we lose focus sometimes on what people can do to help move the needle forward or push the ball closer to the goal line as far as what we're doing out in the public. So what are some of the things that people are doing in San Francisco to help spread the word around, to help you know, people become aware of what's going on in their community and why this recall is so important to them?
Well, what I do as a person, I really, people that I know, and also through social media, I try to let people know just because things are opening up doesn't mean it's over. Gavin's done a lot of things. So people here are very unaware of what Gavin has done, even beyond the pandemic. So I try to educate as many people as I can. I pass out my little Magdalena Recall radio thing because my cards, that tells people what's really happening. And that kind of brings, then people will ask me questions like, what really is going on with Gavin? I'm not very aware. And that's my part in getting the community of San Francisco more aware about why we need to recall this person. That's my contribution.
Right.
Absolutely.
Thank you for the call.
And we also have crews. And thank you, Magdalena. God bless, and we'll talk to you again next week. We have crews up and down the state. We have volunteers. There's literally 75 volunteer groups in California, up and down the state. We have over 200,000 members. There's 240 administrators that monitor the activity on these groups. These are not just your average run-of-the-mill Facebook social debate clubs.
Right.
These are actually
2 minutes, Mike.
That we use to communicate on a local community level what's going on in your neighborhood. You can go to recallgavin2020.com, click on the Take Action button, and find your local county. Click on the county, and then you'll see that there's a Facebook link there that you can join your local county and then become involved in your area. We have door knockers, people going around door to door, taking, you know, surveys and talking to people, spreading the word about the recall, handing out trifold pamphlets and door hangers. We have folks like Ellen who are manning phone banks. So if you want to man a phone bank, or if you want to, or you know, if you want to participate in a phone bank, I should say, saying man a phone bank isn't correct anymore these days.
Yeah, please go. And you know what, Oren, before we go on break, I want to get
Moses, I want to add something here because I'm gonna roll back.
1 minute, Mike. You got 1 minute.
I got it. I'm gonna roll faster. Remember, you can go to 2020.com and also download that trifold and print it out on 2 sides and get it out to the people. There's nothing to stop we the people from doing this. And Moses and Orrin, with your permission, can I roll us to break in my usual style?
Please do. Please do.
Okay. For everybody out there, it's KABC Friday nights at the French Laundry. We call Gavin2020.com. It's time the people took their state back. God bless you guys. Have a good show.
Thanks, Mike.
Picture this, it was not that vacant, like 100 peeps or more. How could I forget that I had Bandolindo gatherings?
Dependable traffic right now for quite a
Well, folks, if you liked it or not, we just had Mr. Mike Netter on the line. That was great to hear. If I could have Mr. Heatley and Miss Walsh take themselves off of mute, please. And I got to send a quick message to Moses if he could see.
little bit extra slow eastbound 210 as you make your way toward Paxton Street near the 118.
All right, he just saw the message. Excellent.
I couldn't read it because I didn't have my spectacles on.
Aha, nice little flashcards for those at the radio station.
There you go.
Those come in nice and handy. And let me send Miss Walsh a reminder. There it is. All right. And if she can put her phone on mute and come off of mute on the Zoom, there it is. And we're back, Susan.
Am I muting or unmuting? I'm checking.
Okay,
for this.
mute the phone, unmute the Zoom.
You know what's funny? We're already an hour and 15 minutes into the show. And once it was a little slow getting rolling, but we didn't miss a step. And as we go forward, man, the time just flies by. The last 45 minutes are going to go quick.
And a message from Miss Ellen from the Central Valley is nice job, team.
Hey, you know what? We need that input from. That's how we roll things out. We take that input from the audience and then plug it into the show, and it presents itself. So
Mr. David is asking how he can get one of the flags over at Analog.
And actually, we'll talk about that. But Ellen, if you wanted to come on and you want to call in and talk about the phone banking and how people can do that from home, but through your leadership or through Paul Olson's leadership, you're welcome to do that. Put people in touch with, the people, connect those dots. So it's up to you if you want to come online, call in. We can do it now. We can do it later. But all right, very good. I see you're going to call in. So Moses will take the call.
And for anybody else that wants to call in,
we'll give you about 5-10 minutes, whatever you need to do that. Moses, can you hear me? Nod your head.
No, he's not able to hear you.
Can't hear you.
Okay.
You might want to mention businesses if they want to support the show too. Businesses, gun shows, gun stores, that kind of thing.
No, Susan, you're a guest host. You might want to mention that.
Oh, okay. All right. Fine. Okay. Fine. Leave it to me.
That's your job.
Make the money. Make this happen. I want him out.
All right. I think you saw the note.
What'd your note say?
Oh, it said better. He was hidden behind the microphone.
Oh.
I do have to go pee really quick. Is that okay? Can I do that?
Well,
can you what?
We're still on commercial, so go.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll be back. I'll make
That's
it
what
quick.
breaks are for.
Well, we're back online.
With Executive Chef Orrin Heatley and Mater D. Mike Netter.
Dream of Californication. Dream of Californication.
Hey guys, welcome back. You're listening to Friday Nights at the French Laundry at AM 790 KABC. We have Raul that's been waiting for a long time. Raul from Highland Park, line 1. Welcome to the program. Hi, Raul.
Well, hi. Is this Moses?
Yes.
Well, how you doing, Moses? Thanks for letting me get on the air here. My concern with the governor is I believe he's breaking the law because he's using our money, our taxpayer money, as bribery money. And another thing I heard on another show was that he still has this under state of emergency, which allows him to fly around like Santa Claus and making all these promises. Are you aware that we're still under a state of emergency, Moses?
Wow. Yes, it's crazy. And you know what?
It's criminal.
He's above the law. And another good example that I want to cite right now, because you actually triggered my memory here. As soon as he became governor, he said he's going to repeal commute all death sentences, and these things is above the law. You know, the people of California voted. Although, you know, I gotta tell you, there are people who make good arguments on both sides. People that are for the death penalty and people who are against the death penalty. But the people of California voted, and they spoke loud and clear, and they passed that they wanted the death penalty. And here,
Not only that, I mean, they passed. Not only did they pass to maintain the death penalty, they passed to streamline it and make it more effective. And just to your point, Moses, it doesn't matter what your ideology is, one way or another, regarding the death penalty. When you have a government official step into office and override the will of the people unilaterally with the stroke of his pen, that's the definition of tyranny, folks. And this is what we're stopping.
Yes, so Raul,
Can I chime in with something else? Okay. Yeah, I shot off a Gmail to the Republican Party, to James Gallagher. I'm furious with him because he and that party have not said a word about what this governor is doing. They should be denouncing him they should have press conferences, and they should be denouncing what he's doing because he's a tyrant. It's obviously.
They actually, if I could speak to that,
sure. Thank you.
Real quick. I know James Gallagher and I know Kevin Kiley, and James Gallagher and Kevin Kiley have actually filed lawsuits against this governor and taken him to court because of his overreach, because of his abuse of his executive authority. And they are the only legislatures that are taking that action. So, as far as James Gallagher goes, I've got to correct the record as far as his participation in what's going on, because they not only speak out loudly, and they do. You can go on to Twitter. You could log on to James Gallagher's blog. You can log on to Kevin Kiley's blog. They are making announcements, but they're just not getting covered by this mainstream left-wing media. And that's why we're doing this radio show, so we can talk about stuff like this.
Absolutely.
And Moses, when Ellen chimes in, if we could bring her on, she's going to talk about some volunteer tips that she has to provide the audience.
Yeah, so let's go with Ellen from San Joaquin Valley. Hi, Ellen.
Hi, thank you for letting me come on to the show.
Absolutely. Thank you for your support.
Glad to have you.
You bet.
What's going on today?
Hey, well, looking for some volunteers who want to get the word out that we need to vote Gavin out.
How can people?
So many people think when they signed the petition that they signed a ballot. They did not. They did get the ballot to a special election, but so many voters aren't aware that there's another phase to the process. And that's what we're in. We're in the phase of educating voters to make sure that they vote yes to recall Gavin Newsom and to vote for another person. And that's where we're at right now. And so I'm helping Paul at GoCo head up a phone banking volunteer team statewide. So looking for volunteers to come on board. It's really, really easy using your phone, and it goes through an app service, and you make a real easy call to remind people that they need to be sure to vote.
I'm sure people can go on to rescuecalifornia.org for more information about that. Is there?
Yep, you go to Recall Gavin. Oh yeah, that too. RecallGavin2020.com. That too. We're partnering with Rescue California, and we can. If you click on volunteer phase 2 and sign up to be a volunteer, and then you'll get more information how you can help. It's really easy.
Awesome. Thank you, Ellen.
So
you're welcome.
Just to clarify, either website has that link, or just one or the other?
Well, I don't go on other people's website because I'm Recall Gavin 2020. So I know for sure it's on our website.
Is there an email contact people can reach out to the Paul Olson or his brother Joel with the GoCo if they want to volunteer on a higher level or anything?
Well, my understanding is if you sign up to be a volunteer and you say you want to do phone banking, you get all channeled to the different regional managers, and we'll get you the right person that will help train people. Right now, my job is to connect with all the different groups in the Valley who want to get trained and have phone banking parties and get-togethers. And my job is to make sure everyone is equipped and ready to go. And that's what I've been doing, because we have got to reach all of our registered voters between now and possibly September, October. So we really don't have a lot of time to think about volunteering. We just need to jump in.
And I just want to say that the home banking is being fully sponsored by Rescue California and Dunsmore and Tom DeBacaro, and we really appreciate all of their help and service in moving the ball closer to the goal line. You can go onto rescuecalifornia.org and check out their website, and you can also log on to recallgavin2020.com and log in as put your register as a volunteer.
Awesome. Thanks, Ellen.
That's right. You're welcome. Have a great show. Thanks for letting me share.
Awesome.
You
Now,
bet.
we'll go to our next caller in line 3, Faye from Covina. Thank you for waiting patiently, and welcome to the program.
Hi, thank you for taking my call. So this is actually about Gascon.
Yes.
So my husband is a children advocate. He pediatric cancer and crimes, and he's been following you, Moses, for a long time. But anyway, we saw finally in West Covina, they were having a signing. So we went over there to put our signatures on the ballot to get him out of there.
Awesome.
Yeah. When we were there was one of the volunteers. I don't know why he decided to open up to us, but he told us that in 2018, you may have a memory of this, in LA County, his son was carjacked. I'm kind of tearing up even talking about it. And they ended up shooting him in the head 7 times. And his friend, who was an innocent bystander, won. Well, they drove the bodies out to Victorville. This happened in LA County. And 7 days later, somebody collecting cans or something found them. But he told us, because of the change in the leadership, that the charges were lessened.
Yes, he wants to.
Those charges.
Yes, in that particular scenario that you just described, Gascon would not allow his prosecutors to charge the special allegations of the use of a gun. And if there was a gang involvement, he wouldn't allow the gang enhancements to be charged. Yeah, it's horrible. And these are enhancements and allegations that are part of the penal code. They're there for a purpose, to hold these people accountable fully for everything that they did in the form of violent acts. And Gascon wants to do away with that. And the only purpose is it benefits the criminal. It benefits the accused. It does not benefit the victim or their families. And in a sense, he's violating Marcy's law, because part of Marcy's law, victims are supposed to be treated with compassion and with respect. This has to do with compassion or respect. Thank you for your call. Lauren, that's stories like that really inspire me to continue to fight this good fight. And people out there, they're listening, they're paying attention, and they're watching, and I'm grateful for that. And so we need more people like that to get involved. You know, I believe that everybody has a circle of friends or family or coworkers. And if you just share with that circle of friends and family, and then those people share with their circle of friends, and it multiplies from there. And it's grassroots. You're right. This is the people's recall.
Exactly. And, you know, every injustice that Gascon, Bodine, Newsom perpetuate on society re-victimizes those who've already suffered so much at the hands of villains. And, you know, they're just making life easier and better for the criminal. And this governor, in this day and age, his biggest concern was housing transgender prisoners in the proper classification. And fully bearded men applied to be housed in the women's housing, 277 men to be rehoused, and it's actually the female inmates who put the
Crazy.
stop to that. So absolutely.
Crazy. You know, we have a person that wants to donate. Tim from Santa Clarita. We'll do it after the break. So Tim, hang in there.
Absolutely.
You're listening to Friday Nights at the French Laundry on KABC AM 790. And here we go.
Recall Gavin2020.com.
San Orlando gatherings, just a prime example of a really big hypocrisy. You don't understand, we're not like other creatures.
Hey, Oren. Oren, can you hear me? Okay.
Oren's currently on mute. Let's give him a request here. There it is. He's back.
Okay,
Go
Oren,
ahead.
Oren, can you hear me? I think it's really important because Kevin Kiley, Assemblyman Kevin Kiley, put a challenge out to Gavin Newsom this week that basically said, do not take your pay raise. I'm not taking mine. And, you know, so I think that's something that's very important for people to know, that the $8,809 that Newsom's going to take, that Kylie's not going to take that, and that Newsom will take that.
And Lauren, just so you know, the next caller wants to donate to the recall, so we'll put him on. And you can
Oh,
ring
he
your bell.
wants to talk about donations.
You want to talk about donations?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I have another caller.
I'll try and find my bill. And Susan, bring this stuff up. You're sitting there quiet.
My phone is disconnected. You can't hear me. My phone
On the
is-
radio, it's
Yeah.
disconnected.
The phone is disconnected. I'm
Well, call back in.
okay. What number?
1-800-222-5222.
Yep.
Let's see. It's 1-800-522.
1-800-222-5222.
1-800-522.
1-800-222-5222.
6222. Is that what it is?
1-800-222-5222.
Yeah. Got it.
2.
Got it. Oh my goodness.
I tried in 2 different languages, Moses. It didn't work.
You're messing with me tonight. Yeah. I mean, I've got the swear words down. That's it. It's the
Appreciate that.
but okay, I'm calling.
All right. Ellen actually just typed it in the chat. Thanks, Ellen. All right. We have traffic, and then I believe we're back on after that. And we have 2 more.
Actually, hey,
segments left.
Wayman, can you guys call Susan again?
Southbound 405.
Yeah, no one's picking up for me. I see how I
No,
rate.
they won't.
Century Boulevard.
Wayman, can you guys call
Maybe-
Susan again?
Looks like
Yeah, can you call
Friday evening.
Can you call Susan Walsh again?
Level earlier stall has cleared. Just
Yes?
But southbound 101, a lot
Yes,
of
no?
downtown 10 freeway eastbound through mid city.
She got dropped off.
On this Friday, it's heavy beginning at
Okay, thank you.
all the way to the 110 freeway. That's the
They're gonna call you back.
Thank you.
Excellent.
We've all been through
Whoa.
Nope, we have a few more commercials going.
what'll happen next. So maybe you should prepare.
Yeah, so we should be talking about these rolling blackouts throughout California on the radio show.
Yeah, Susan is gonna bring those up. I didn't know her phone was just disconnected. That's why. I
Okay.
was like, all right, Susan, your turn.
Yeah, no. Oh, my dog.
So
is
we got to
back.
talk about it on the radio show.
Hang on. Let me get a hold of him. The dog.
Okay, yes, go ahead. And Oren and Susan, don't need to worry about putting yourselves on mute here on the Zoom chat. I got you covered. Taking you off of mute.
I still have to quiet the phone though.
Yeah, that's true. I got part of it covered. How about that?
Yes, sir. No questions from chat this time.
Nothing currently. Let me
Good
double-
job, Ellen.
Yeah.
Life has the tendency to interrupt.
Let Ann know that I gave her a shout out.
Don't worry, with the KABC Podcast Network, you'll never miss a second of your favorite KABC shows. Of course, you may need to hit rewind once or twice. KABC.com.
All right. And we're back on.
Friday night at the French Laundry. On the menu tonight, a better California with executive chef Oren Heatley and maitre d' Mike Netter.
Welcome back to Friday Friday nights at the French Laundry. My name is Moses Castillo. I'm a guest host for Mike today. Oren, it's been awesome. We have Tim on line one. I'd like to invite Tim. Welcome to the program. Hey, Tim, we're getting some feedback. Can you turn off or mute your phone? Or okay, here we go. That's better.
No, it's not. Not at all.
No.
We're in the perpetual cycle of things. So, all right. Yeah. Are there any other callers?
We have Susan. Susan, welcome back.
Hey, hi.
Hey, hi.
So your caller,
your caller was talking about Gallagher and Kevin Kiley.
And I think it's very important.
Very important so people know that Kevin Kiley, can you guys hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
We can hear.
Okay, so Kevin Kiley posed it officially to Governor Newsom to not take his raise, because they all got a raise during this pandemic. And Kiley's turned down his raise, and he asked Governor Newsom to turn it down as well, because at this time, Gavin Newsom would get $8,809 raise for this whole pandemic. So I think that's very worthy and very, I think it's awesome that we have, legislators that are actually conscious of it. And Gavin Newsom definitely does not deserve a raise. So thank you, Assemblyman Kevin Kiley. That's all to say.
Awesome.
Absolutely. And I just want to, I understand there's some rolling blackouts that are taking place throughout the state right now. I'm not sure if the mainstream media are going to cover that or not. It's 100 degrees where I am. I know that, when the power goes out, the heat goes up in the house. You start losing your refrigerator, your freezer starts to thaw out if it's a prolonged blackout. These are people's lives depend on their power and their clear source of power. And, this governor has proven time and time again, he, just as in Gray Davis, is not able to keep the power on, to keep the lights on, but yet he wants to transition to an all electric transportation system by 2035.
That's
I want to know what his plan is. He's basically, dropping a grenade in the room and then walking out of the room, because he's going to be long gone in other endeavors in his life, and we're still going to be suffering the after effects of his reckless decisions that he made while he was in office.
Yeah,
I believe that was done under executive order. Is that correct, Oren?
That's right, and that's why we need to get a governor in office now that can reverse some of these damaging executive orders and stop the destruction and change the course of our state right now. And I'll tell you what, on that note, the sooner the better. The Democrats are strategizing, we've got to have this election in August or September, because if we wait until September, October, November, then we're going to be suffering the devastating wildfires. The drought is going to be worse. The farmers aren't going to be able to water their crops. We could be in hyperinflation by that time. Kids are going to be going back to school with restricted access, and parents are going to be upset. And they know that right now they think that his head's above the water. But I say the sooner the better, because the quicker we can get this governor out of office, the better. And we need to do it right now. Hold the election tomorrow, folks.
Yes. Let's begin to elect leaders that are going to put people first, support law enforcement, and put violent criminals last. We're sick and tired of the other organizations being, bowed down to, the BLMs, all these other organizations.
Antifa.
Antifa, thank you. All these anarchists, and it just blows my mind that we are allowing these organizations just to run amok. BLM collects millions and millions of dollars from people, and they don't do anything with that money other than pocketed the styles, and they haven't
lifted one black child up with, scholarships. There's a lot of things that they could do. There's a lot of good that the BLM movement could do, but are choosing to not participate in. And, on this weekend of Juneteenth, I don't want to get too deep into the weeds as far as BLM goes and things like that. And I do wish everybody a happy Juneteenth. This is a time of celebration, but I think that it's also a time where we need to come together and unify as one, regardless of our race or our ethnicity or our walk of life. We need to unify and change the direction of California government to where California is a place we can call home again, and we can secure a future that we can all live with.
Yes, and we need a leader that's going to not allow these fraudulent benefits to go out to inmates. So I'm talking about the unemployment benefits that were lost in the billions of dollars.
81.
And it's just and nobody's being held accountable. That's what I don't get.
You know what, Moses? There were $31 billion of our tax money lost, given away due to scandal and fraud in the unemployment department. And this governor was given a warning from his state auditor. She told him that the EDD, the Employment Development Department, is ripe for fraud, corruption, and scandal. And this governor did nothing to stop it. And we lost $31 billion bled out of that department before a whistleblower at the Department of Corrections brought it to light. And who knows how long that would have gone on if left unchecked. But that is just $31 billion, folks out there. Wrap your minds around this number. That equates out to 62,000 single family homes at $500,000 apiece. 62,000 single family homes at $500,000 apiece is how much money was bled out of this government due to this governor's mismanagement.
And nobody's being held accountable. Nobody's being investigated.
Well, I think that's one of the best things is people say, well, this election's going to cost too much. It's going to cost $250 million that they estimate. But it's like, are you kidding me? Like, this is a cost savings. Let's go. How much more damage can he possibly do?
And to your point, Moses, nobody's investigating it because we have a weak, crony attorney general who's turning a blind eye to this sort of corruption in this administration. That's why we need to elect a strong attorney general who's going to launch investigations into these corrupt scandals.
Yes, and you know what? And it's time that they get some justice, and I'm sure they're not going to be able to pay it back, but and God forbid if they charge him here in LA County, nothing's going to happen to him because George Gascon doesn't hold anybody accountable here in LA County, but hopefully other counties can or will.
They need to disband the unemployment department, completely revamp it and start over. They could privatize it and it would be run more effectively and more efficiently, and just take it out of the governor's hands, government's hands, and put it into the public because they'll run it better and they'll do it more effectively.
Yes, call 1-800-222-5222 if you want a comment or a question, and you're listening to the Friday Nights at the Laundry at KABC AM 790.
Absolutely. And for those folks listening in, make sure that you're aware. We need people to donate to RecallGavin2020.com. RecallGavin2020.com. Go in there, click the Take Action button, click the Donate button. Help us keep the lights on.
Were there a lot of people there? Picture this, it was not that vacant, like 100 peeps or more. How could I forget that I had Bandolindo gathering?
KABC, dependable traffic right now on the 60 freeway.
All right.
All right, we're just getting fired up. You want to go another hour? I'm just kidding.
We still had a minute to go. That's why I chimed in after you gave the phone number, Moses.
Oh, Moses is not able to hear us currently,
No. Okay.
or he's not talking back. He's on mute.
That's fine.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah. It's hard for me to see the time right here, so thanks.
Moses,
Yeah.
if you can move your camera.
Wayman's talking in my ear. He's telling me you got 1 minute left, et cetera, et cetera. So you're doing good though, dude. You're
You're doing
a
great,
natural.
Moses. If you can move your camera a little bit to the side, Moses, your microphone is hiding the camera. Yeah, that should be better.
Cool.
An overwhelming task.
Now, Susan, if you can mute your phone, and then after commercial, unmute your phone and I will mute your Zoom. And we'll still be able to hear you on the radio.
Okay, so one more time. I'm going, after the commercial, I'm gonna mute my phone, right?
You're going to unmute your phone after commercial.
Okay.
And I will take care of the rest. How about that?
Okay, that sounds great. I love it. Just go for it. Take it away. That's good.
There's a learning curve.
Yeah. I can see that.
She's a victim of public schools. I can see it. She probably went to St. Francis.
So
or
are we?
something
Are you kidding me? I wish. No.
Okay, so we do have 2 callers in.
Excellent. Unfortunately, I had
This
to
is
drop.
our, so this is our last segment. It's going to be a short segment, and bring the callers on first.
Yes.
Okay.
Call us today at 800-375-1199 to schedule your free.
It goes quick, huh, Moses?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, so I was the caller that had a lot of feedback. Unfortunately, I couldn't take
I
care of the
figured that
feedback.
out. What did you want to talk about, Tim?
Oh, I was just going to talk about donations. It was really good to hear Mike get on the air because whether you like it or not, we had them and that was fantastic. Wonderful to hear, Ellen. And we encourage people, join in on our Zoom chat. Join in by calling in at 1-800-222-5222 every Friday from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. And donate to recallgavin2020.com to keep this radio show going forward.
Yeah, the businesses need to donate. I know I put my magnet signs on my car and oh my goodness, I'm meeting so many wonderful people. I love it. So I really
Awesome.
encourage people to do that because
So bring up the business aspect during this next segment because this is our last segment. So.
Okay.
And in the chat, we have David stating that Channel 9 Los Angeles just reported that they didn't want electric car to run on the grid right now.
Oh, wonderful.
Oh, are you kidding me?
No joke.
Stranded in Hanford. That's the only station between LA and, yeah. there.
Wow.
And Mater D. Mike Netter.
So I'm gonna unmute.
Hey guys, welcome back to AM 780 KABC. You're listening to Friday Nights at the French Laundry. Let's go straight to our callers. Caller on line 1, Phil from Rancho Cucamonga. Welcome to the program.
I appreciate it. How you doing today?
Go ahead, Phil.
Hey, I got a question. I know that
Turn down your radio. Just listen to your phone. Okay.
It's that damn delay, I'll tell you.
If you turn off your radio, just listen to your phone. You'll be fine. So go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Okay, let's go with Angela, line 2. Angela from Riverside. Angela, you there? Welcome to the program.
Going.
What?
Going.
No. Angela, you there?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, Angela.
Hi. Can you hear me?
What's going on in Riverside County tonight, Angela? How are you doing?
I'm doing just great. I just thought I would call in and let you know that I have decided to donate in kind of an indirect way. I have gotten permission from where I live down on a major thoroughfare between the 2 interstates to post a banner. And I'm going to do it
I'm going to do it every couple of weeks, change it out to keep people informed. The first banner is going to go up in another week or so that says to Riverside, thank you for all of your signatures, and put down the number that they had gathered, and then how many of the state, and how many were verified, and how many we had overage, and then stay tuned, for the date for the recall vote.
Wow.
So I just want you to know that because my next banner will go up to say why we need to recall him. When we get the vote date, I'll make a banner that goes up for that. And the major thoroughfare that it's on actually has approximately 60,000 vehicles per day. That would be the banner.
Great
So,
job, Angela.
Wonderful. Very good.
Yes, thank you for the call and thank you for your support and fighting this good fight. Okay,
Absolutely.
I think we got Phil this time. Phil, line 1, can you hear us? Phil.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Okay, much better.
All right, turn my radio out completely. So I got a question. I know that during the pandemic, Newsom bought a bunch of masks from China. I think he paid millions for them. And I'm just curious to know whatever happened to those masks. No one ever talked about it.
He paid $1 billion for those masks, my friend.
$1 billion?
Yeah. Wherever they ended up, I have no idea. I don't know personally whether they were handed out or if they're in storage somewhere or if he gave them away to, another. I don't know what happened to them.
Well, I got a follow-up question.
Go ahead. Go with your question.
My follow-up question is why, instead of going to China and outsourcing it, why not go to a U.S. manufacturer and spend the money in the country to help the economy, especially when it was such a vital time that we needed help? I don't get it.
Because it makes too much sense.
We actually had the owner of one of the largest textile companies in our state and in the country, the whole nation, as a matter of fact, they call up and tell us, we were standing poised at the ready to make these masks, and we could have done it quicker. We could have done it, more effectively, but the governor went and outsourced it. And that money, when you lose $1 billion to a foreign government, that money doesn't come back to our system. If you spend $1 billion in our system here at home, you're employing people who go out and then they spend that money and they employ other people and they buy goods here at home. And $1 billion could have gone a long way to help. And that's just another way the taxpayers in California are footing the bill for this governor's mismanagement and his bad decision.
Yes.
Well, last week he said we have plenty of masks. We don't have to worry about masks now all of a sudden. So maybe that's what he's sitting on. Anyway.
Right. And Susan, you had a good point about, talking about corporations and things like that. And
yeah.
Phil, thank you so much for your call. God bless, and you have a wonderful evening. And try and get home before the power outages, because I understand.
Yeah, right, for sure.
There's some news that's coming down regarding power outages.
Yeah, so I just want to tell you, I'll encourage businesses out there to, get that literature in your business online. I personally have magnets on my car. This is my first week, and it was so much fun driving around because so many people give me the thumbs up, they honk, they wave, they stop me, and they talk about how much they can't stand Mussolini. And it's just a beautiful thing. I actually want to just be driving around all week long because all these new people that I'm meeting. But for businesses too, please, I think you should really encourage it, embrace it, donate. You could be a sponsor on the show, and you're going to get so many people that are going to listen to you and would love it to support a business to get, it's on board to get Mussolini out. So that's all I have to say.
Who was it, Moses? Who was it that mentioned that there was a news broadcast about electric cars being taken off the grid right now? Was that you, Susan, or did that come from Tim?
It came from one of the callers. I forget which one.
One of the callers. Okay. Very good.
And Grass Valley's out. Their lights are out. So
lights are out in Grass Valley, folks. It's happening. And from what I understand, there was a news outlet that had just announced that they want the electric cars taken off the grid in certain areas, not all over. I don't want to panic anybody, but want to make sure that you charge that car up during off-peak hours, folks, because that's going to be important. You don't want your car to be the one that takes the the electric grid down.
Yes. And again, my call is for people to get involved, whether it's through a donation, whether it's spreading the word. You know, when you have some good news, you want to share with somebody that there's hope to recalling someone like Newsom, you got to share it, you got to spread it, you got to encourage them to. We did the first part of putting it on the ballot. Now we got to get them out of the office. So it's a two-step process, and we're getting one step closer. And I believe it could be done. And now it's a matter of just spreading the word. And when the time comes to vote, get out there and vote, and get them out of the office. And when the answer,
absolutely.
When we see question number one, should Gavin Newsom be recalled? The answer is yes.
And we have to have people get out the vote. Get out the vote. There are going to be a lot of good quality candidates that are going to come out. And whether you like the ones that are out now or not, just kind of keep your eye on the horizon, because by the time this is all done, you know, the clouds and dancing bears are all out there. We're going to have some good quality people to choose from, and you're going to be confident that somebody that is more competent is going to be in that office within 10 days after that election. This is our opportunity to take the state back and to start rebuilding, to start the healing process in California, and to actually begin to rebuild the state out of the gutter and back into the golden state that it once was and the glory that it can be.
You know, I find it interesting that for so Gavin wants potential people that are running to show 5 years of their income tax records, right? And so that's what they want. So, but when Gavin showed his income tax records, right, recently, he only gave the media 20 minutes with them. They could not take pictures. They could only take notes. And it was over 1,000 pages, you know. So Gavin doesn't need to show 5 years, but everybody else that wants to compete has to show 5 years. Gee, doesn't that sound fair? Unbelievable.
20 minutes?
The corruption. 20 minutes, that's it. And they couldn't take pictures. They just had to jot down notes.
Wow.
That's how bad, that's how corrupt it is here.
Interesting. Yeah, very interesting. All right. Well, we're wrapping up another wonderful segment of Friday nights at the French Laundry. Moses, any final words?
Yeah, you know what? If you want to invite me to your community to come out to speak to your churches, community events, neighborhood meetings, whatever it is, reach out to me. You could find me at Detective Moses at thelawgroup.com. That's Detective Moses at thelawgroup.com. That's my email. Reach out to me. And if you want to find out how I could come out and speak to your, especially if you're a leader of a Spanish-speaking church, Latino community, I want to educate our Latino folks why it's important to get involved, why it's important to vote people that are going to put, our leaders are going to put people first, support law enforcement, and put criminals last, because victims matter, people matter, law enforcement, they matter. We lose them, we lose our society, we lose our freedoms, we're going to live in fear and of crime, and we're going to be victims of crime. We cannot allow that to happen. Get involved, get educated, get informed, reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to come out to your local community, and you might be surprised. You might even see me go up and down the state of California pretty soon.
And give your email one more time there.
It's Detective Moses at the letter D, lawgroup.com.
Detective Moses, dlawgroup.com. Thank you, folks, for joining us on the Friday nights at the French Laundry. God bless you. KABC.com. Go to recallgavin2020.com. Click the Take Action button. Register as a volunteer and donate today. Keep the lights on, folks, and keep the momentum going forward. Recallgavin2020.com.
Voters can't be trusted to be indoor eaters. They are more contagious after all, they're mouth breathers. Just tell them it's important to follow all the law. How any violation.
This show is sponsored by the official Recall Committee California Patriot Coalition. Recall
Thanks, guys.
2020.
Appreciate it.
24018. Committee major funding from others include Rescue California, Recall Gavin Newsom, LLC, DGB Ranch.